Hey, 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 y'all. Happy Tuesday. Happy Tuesday. Welcome to another episode of Design for Destiny. Yes. And today I wanted to come on and speak on the topic of just leadership school. Yes. And some of the things that I've learned that is directly applicable in business as well. And so I took a couple of weeks just to really sit and reminisce on just my full experience. And I wanted to share today. It was a milestone for me. I joined leadership school 2 years ago. And, as an entrepreneur, time is a big factor. It means a lot to us. For entrepreneurs, we are not looking for time to be taken away. We are looking to get more time. And leadership school was quite the commitment and sacrifice because want to paint a picture. First year, it was 9 to 1, and I had the evenings to do what I wanted. But that's fine if the mornings weren't my most creative time. So I literally had to adapt. Yeah, girl, had to adapt. Second year, it was 9 to 2, 3 days a week. And during this entire time, I was still running my business full time, going through, the different things that life has to give as well on top of that. And I really had to adjust. I really had to adjust. And so, but I made it. Your girl made it. She graduated last Monday, last week, Monday. So, woohoo for me. But I wanted to come on and share 5 things leadership school has taught me that I believe will change how you think about even building your own business. Some of these are going to be practical, some of them are going to hit in a different way, but all of these things I am taking with me as I continue to do life and build. And so, if I haven't mentioned it earlier before, my name is Chantal Sewell. This is Design for Destiny, and let's get into it. Okay? All right. So, I wanted to first start about talking about why I actually went to leadership school. Short reason is because God told me to. And then the other reason beyond that is I run a business that serve leaders. Okay. And I could not keep showing up in that space without asking myself honestly, am I actually developing as a leader myself? Am I in rooms with leaders? Do I understand how leaders think, what they carry, what they are navigating? Leadership school answered all those questions. And what I got out of 2 years of showing up consistently, even when time was stretched, was not just knowledge. It was literally me being formed. And formation is a thing that changes how you lead, how you build, and how you show up for the people you are called to serve. And so here are some 5 things, okay? This is going to be like a quick episode. And so lesson number 1 is spiritual leadership keeps the main thing the main thing. And so this is one of those things that I think has the most direct impact on your business and the one that is least talked about in entrepreneurship spaces. When you are well spiritually, everything else gets impacted positively. Your decisions get better, direction is more clear. The anxiety that usually runs the background of your business gets quieter because you are operating from a place of alignment rather than a place of fear. And so, spiritual leadership is not just about your quiet time or your church attendance. It is about keeping the main thing in every area of your life, including how you run your business. It is about leading yourself spiritually first before you try to lead anything or anyone else. And so, what I observed in leadership school was this: the leaders who were the most effective, the ones who produced the most fruit, who had the most clarity, who made the best decisions under pressure, were consistently the ones who had the strongest spiritual foundation. Okay, and the principle translate directly into entrepreneurship. The business owner who is the most grounded in Christ makes decisions differently than those who are running on anxiety and hustle. Okay, and so the person, like, once we apply Making God the foundation, we will be less swayed by what everyone else is doing. We won't make desperate moves in slow seasons. And we're more likely to hear from God clearly when a critical decision needs to be made. And so, if I were to give any tip, I would say invest in your spiritual leadership first. Everything else follows from that. Lesson number two is capacity. And so, little background of my business. I serve a lot of people at once for my clients. Sometimes I'm doing 15 clients all at once, and it can be quite a bit to juggle on top of. I have a life as well outside of my business in school. And so this one was really quite a stretch for me because being in leadership school for 2 years while running a business full time forced me to either develop my capacity or reduce what I was doing. And if you know me, quitting was not an option. So what I had to do was adapt. And so what does adapting look like? It looks like getting more intentional about how you use your time, cutting the things that were filling hours that weren't moving the needle, getting better at delegation, which was a big one for me. Like literally, I was able to take on more clients because I learned how to delegate and release control. Hallelujah. Thank you, Jesus. Okay. Release control, delegate, y'all. Right. It helped me to develop better systems and getting clearer on what only you can do and releasing everything else. And so capacity is not something most people develop voluntarily. They develop it because something forced them to. And the forcing function for me was a 2 year commitment that was not going anywhere, which meant the business had to find a way to keep running in less time. So here's what I want you to hear in that: the constraints in your life right now, the job you're still working, the season that feels too full, the schedule that does not have enough room, those constraints are not just obstacles, they are capacity builders. They are forcing you to get better at stewardship, to make harder decisions about how you use your time, to develop the discipline of doing more with less. Do not resent the constraint. Grow in it because the capacity you develop in the tight seasons is what allows you to steward significantly more when the space opens up. Okay? Capacity. And so I could pose a question to you. Is there an area where you currently feel stretched and you're tempted to give up? And you're probably mislabeling it as, oh my gosh, stress, when in fact it is an opportunity to grow and expand your territory, literally, because we can't say we want more territory and we like shy away from the stretching that comes with it, you know, we either lean in, adapt, or we forfeit, and we don't forfeit. Okay. And so, lesson number three for me was comfort zone, especially as it relates to communication. So, I know that I'm called to speaking and teaching. I love to educate people. Hence why I created Design for Destiny, because I do more teaching over there than at JOE. And the only way you can grow in something is by actively practicing it. And so at the leadership school, we had opportunities to do so amongst our peers, amongst other leaders, and we got feedback that helped us to grow. Practically in business, this is very important because your communication style is one of the most important assets in your business, and how you show up on camera, how you write your emails, how you speak to a room, how you present your offer, how you respond when a client pushes back, because that's going to happen. All of it is communication. All of it is leadership. And all of it requires practice in real time with real stakes. And so you cannot get better at communicating by consuming content about communication. You get better by it, by doing it, by posting the video even when it feels awkward, by sending the email even when you're not sure it's perfect, and by showing up for the speaking opportunity even when the audience is small. The comfort zone will always tell you that you are not ready, but leadership grows in spite of that voice, not after it goes quiet. And so, two more. One of the things that stood out to me has to do with lifestyle. Lifestyle, which is a big thing. You know, this one shifted something significant in how I think about building. And I've always been this kind of person. I listen to what people have to say, but I look at what their life speaks. To me, your lifestyle speaks before your words do, like how you carry yourself, the standards you hold, the way you treat your time and your commitments and people around you. All of it communicates something to your clients, to your community, to the people who are watching you build. And here is what I mean specifically in the context of business. How you treat your business communicates to others. If you are inconsistent with your content, people feel that. If you do not honor your own boundaries, people learn that. If you show up differently depending on who is watching, people notice that. All of it is a form of leadership, and all of it sends a message before you ever open your mouth. And so, the most credible thing a leader can have is alignment between what they say and how they live. And in business, that alignment shows up in the details. Do you deliver what you're going to promise? Do you show up on time? Do you hold your clients to the standards you talk about publicly? Do you charge what your work is actually worth and treat that price with confidence? Your business is a reflection of your leadership, and your lifestyle sets the tone for both. And so in leadership school, I became more intentional about this, about the standard I hold privately being the same standard I represent publicly, about my follow through being consistent whether or not anyone is watching, because that consistency, that alignment between the private and the public, is what builds the kind of trust that sustains a business long term. Okay? Yes. And so I will close with this final lesson, and that is you cannot lead others further than you have led yourself. And we've heard this a lot. You've heard this before. And this may be the second most important lesson in the entire episode. And it applies directly to every entrepreneur who is in the business of helping, coaching, serving, or leading other people. Your growth ceiling as a leader is your client's ceiling too. And so you cannot take someone somewhere you have not been. You cannot help someone develop something if you have not developed. You cannot lead someone through a process you have not walked yourself. And the depth of transformation you can produce in the people you serve is directly connected to the depth of the work you have done on yourself. This is why leadership development is not optional for the entrepreneur who serves people. It is the work, it is the infrastructure of everything else you are building. Because if the leader is not growing, the business eventually plateaus. Not because the strategy is wrong, but because the leader stopped expanding. And so leadership school forced my growth in capacity, in communication, in spiritual depth, in the alignment between how I live and what I teach. And every single one of those areas of growth has a direct line to how I show up for the woman I serve. And so if you got anything from this, I would say invest in yourself. Okay. Not just as it being something we do for, luxury purposes, but also just as a business strategy. The leader you are becoming is the ceiling of what your business can reach. And that ceiling should be moving upward consistently. Now, I want to close with something I'm genuinely excited about because finishing leadership school means I have more time. Yes. And I have been very intentional about what I'm going to do with it. Okay. Okay. And so as I mentioned before, YouTube of just live recordings is coming in June. So more video, more depth, more of the conversations that need more space than a podcast alone can give. If you have been wanting more from this community, it's coming. So go subscribe on YouTube right now, Chantal Sewell. All right. As you all know, I launched a Design for Destiny, which is a group coaching program for those who have got ideas, who want the structure, systems, and infrastructure to build and thrive. I understand how it is to have a new business idea, and because I've been through it all, I know the thoughts that new entrepreneurs have, and I also have the tools to help them to launch well, but then also market it well as well so they can get their first client, etc. And that's all covered on the Design for Destiny Group Coaching Program. Cohort 2 is launching July 28th. Okay. And yeah, personally, Chantal 3.0 is in the works. More investment in myself, more rest, more of the things that keep the leader healthy so that what gets poured out keeps coming from a full place. The version of me that is well rested, well rooted, shows up better for this community. And that is the version I am intentionally building towards. The best is still ahead for me and for you. And so, yes, that was the 5 lessons. Spiritual leadership keeps the main thing the main thing. Okay? Capacity develops in the constraint, not in spite of it. Growth happens in the doing, not in the preparing. Your lifestyle speaks before your words do. And you cannot lead others further than you have led yourself. And so these are not just leadership school lessons, these are business lessons, life lessons. And I hope they land in you the way they landed in me. And so share this episode with someone who's building and needs to hear this today. Subscribe on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. And come find me on YouTube in June so you'll visually see me, okay? And when you are ready to build in community with women who are serious about growing, head over to destinedco.com. I will see you there. Until next time, happy building.